Assassin's Creed Shadows is the recent controversy in gaming, as instead of trying out the actual game, people of Twitter decided to focus on the race of the character and the fact that you can have an option of same-sex relationship if you choose to be in them. But for me, when I read the screams about some game being woke, I'm like, geez, don't threaten me with a good time. I mean, my favorite game series ever is The Last of Us, so I literally can't be faced with anything at this point. For quite some time, I have not been excited about release of some game like I was excited about Assassin's Creed Shadows release. And the thing is, the only AC I played before this one was Valhalla, but you know, it was the most boring shit. Safe to say, I don't have an attachment to the series, so I played the game with a clear mind. The reason I got excited about this game in the first place is my weird hyperfixation on Japan, and my TikTok's For You page been feeding into my fantasies.
And make an educated guess if I'm feeling sad near the mountain Fuji.
I've been buying Japanese-inspired teas, deep diving into the lore of Japanese horror game developer, but the most important thing, I remembered how much of a good time I had while playing and also getting platinum for Ghost of Tsushima. This was one of the best gaming experiences I have ever had. So let's consider this video as a waiting room for the next installment in the series Ghost of Yotei. Will my silly love for Japanese culture be enough to love AC Shadows Platinum as much? This journey of getting Platinum trophy might have only been a week long, but it was still filled with such a different emotions. Love, joy, laughs because of the funny bugs and even rage. Just as warning, this video is not spoiler free. I want to share my full experience. So now is your chance to click off. You still here? Alright, let's dive into it.
Hey, you.
There are 55 trophies in Assassin's Creed Shadows. And as always, those trophies include finishing the main story, doing a bunch of side activities, upgrading characters, some miscellaneous and combat related trophies, and finally, collectibles. Everyone loves collectibles! I had no choice but to start with the story, and damn. I said I was not attached to previous games, but I cannot deny that this intro goes hard. The story starts with the introduction of one of the playable characters, Yasuke. He arrives together with Jesuits to Japan for a meeting with the powerful daimyo Oda Nobunaga, seeking free movement for priests in Japan to spread their beliefs. Oda Nobunaga sees in Yasuke a born warrior and orders him to stay to become a powerful samurai under Lord Nobunaga himself. We get an immediate 6 months time skip showing now Yasuke as the right hand of powerful daimyo, and I finally got my controls back as well to get a taste of a combat. That's honestly such a badass character arc, becoming one of the strongest samurais in the country after being a slave for so long. Yasuke, I already love you. What I also love to see is my first achievement on this journey. It was given for performing first finisher as Yasuke. Pause. A quick disclaimer because I'm a complete idiot. I'm missing video fragments of 6 of the following trophies popping. I don't have any reasonable explanation for it, because I just deleted them on accident when trying to free up space on my PlayStation. So, as a proof of completion, I will show you PSN profiles banners of said trophies when it will be relevant. It's so satisfying to see Yasuke in this new role, I can't stress it enough. I really felt his power as a combat was very easy. Yasuke was cutting through those shinobis like a heated knife through butter. So easy. Continuing my journey, Ubisoft made me feel bad right away for enjoying cutting through all the shinobis, because they introduced me to a playable character on the other side of the battle, Shinobi Naoe, who was simply trying to protect her village and family family from bloodbath attacks performed by the army of Nobunaga. We now get introduced to combat with a new character, to fight on the opposite side from Yasuke. As shinobi, Naoe is more mobile and fast, but she also does less damage to enemies. But it doesn't stop her from cutting through enemies really quickly as well. The villagers of Iga, where the attack occurs, are desperate to protect their home, but unfortunately they find themselves surrounded by enemies. So Naoe's father, Nagato, reveals a hidden blade to her and gives her the task to protect some mysterious box, which is located in Kofun. In fact, this box is so important that Nagato is ready to die for it, and that would be really easy to do, as road to Kofun is full of enemies, but thanks to the hidden blade, Naoe's success rate increased significantly, and I get first trophy as Naoe for performing stealth kill. The rest of the way to Kofun was pretty straightforward. It was basically a tutorial for stealth, so nothing complicated. But upon arriving, things did get complicated. Naoe found earlier mentioned box but couldn't protect it, as she was still not strong enough to do so. Let's just say my girl got forcefully sent to PTO. She is alive though, because father managed to save her and bring her to a friend of his, Tomiko, while almost dying as well though. What a fun family vacation! But as we know, vacations always tend to be over really fast, and this situation was not an exception. Naoe literally went to steal the box back and kill the samurai who left scars on her face right away. And she did it with this cool stealth skill from a grappling hook. Well, again, happiness was not present for a long time, as Naoe got shot. Box she just got back was taken and her father got killed while trying to protect her by a group of powerful leaders named Shinbakafu. And basically this point in the story is the whole motivation of Naoe. Girl got traumatized by her father's death, and as per his last wish, she will follow a blade and get obsessed with finding a box yet again. This sequence brought us to the end of the prologue and popped related trophy. Gladly, Naoe can still avenge her father and her whole village, as group of baddies didn't confirm their kill on Naoe and she survived and got picked up by a monk, Sorin, and his apprentice Junjiro. They kindly let Naoe stay with them at the temple so she can heal not only her body but also her soul after a devastating loss. But it was time to finally start taking care of business. And my PlayStation is glitching. I guess some bigoted gods really didn't want me to continue playing. I had freezes every like 5 seconds. And those freezes were not only in an AC game. Safe to say, my first few hours in the game were really frustrating. Eventually, it all worked out and Naoe could return back to Tomiko, who encouraged Naoe not only to kill all 11 remaining Shinbakafu, also their allies, but for that they needed a base of operation, and Tomiko agreed to make a settlement out of her farm, and even allowed to build a first needed building out of materials she had, which granted Soul Sanctum trophy for unlocking a hideout. After this, I was pretty much allowed to explore an open world to do lots of side activities. I pinpointed my next quest location with the help of a scout and got a trophy for that as well. But I didn't head to this quest right away, as I got distracted with one of the side activities. That is exclusive for Naoe, Kujikiri. For Zen Master trophy, I needed to complete all of them available on the map. But I really didn't mind it, because this trophy combines a lot of enjoyable things together. Firstly, we get to know about Naoe's past, her relationship with her father before the village was attacked, how she trained to become shinobi, and we even got to see her worries after taking someone's life for the first time. I love how it was integrated into the main story, honestly, but it was only for the first 4 Kujikiris that I did. After that, pre-story was basically concluded, and we were in a present time. Secondly, despite me struggling on some of Kujikiris, it was still a very satisfying activity to do. The beautiful views added to the satisfaction a lot. And lastly, it was actually beneficial to my character to complete Kujikiris, as after each meditation I was given 1 point to level up my character's knowledge level. With each set level, powerful techniques and upgrades became available in a skill tree. Kujikiri is not only activity that gives knowledge points. All orange activities seen on the map will give you 1, and they all are very different, ranging from finding closed pages and praying in temples to doing Path of Shadows, which is basically parkour to get to a chest with a treasure. Speaking of parkour, I got my next trophy, hook, line and swinger. I will definitely do those side events each time I'm near them, to make a grind in the end easier, as I needed knowledge 6 level to be able to unlock some skill points for a few trophies. By accident, I stumbled upon funny little feature while exploring. I needed to swim across a big chunk of water, so I decided to take a boat. I thought that it would save me so much time instead of going all the way around on the horseback. When I found myself in a deep water, pretty quickly I understood that my fragile little boat wasn't built for those waves. And of course it started to crumble under the pressure, but it seems like developers didn't want me to swim alone for too long, because within 10 to 20 seconds another boat appeared right beside me, hinting to board it, and like it was there to help me. And sure enough, it crumbled almost immediately again, because, well, it was still the same boat, just as weak, and the cycle repeated over and over until I finally reached the shore. It felt like some kind of circus act. Honestly, I wasn't even mad, it was just too entertaining to get frustrated over. Returning to the main story, I needed to build a forge for a blacksmith that I recruited, but I found myself being a little short in resources. So I decided to try to raid my first castle. I honestly had no idea of what I was doing. I was dying stupidly because I went for an open combat with Naoe, who is not made for that.
Yes.
But when I understood that I needed to be stealthy and more patient with her, I cleared the castle and got resources pretty easy, and also managed to get the Unseen trophy for performing 5 assassinations in a row without being noticed or entering the combat. Honestly, my pleasure, because it was so satisfying to move in the shadows as shinobi, and petting this adorable kitty was a treat for being so badass. I got so attached to this furball that I took it with me to the hideout and got another trophy for adopting a pet. Game was going great, I was enjoying the setting, story, side activities and even some bugs. What happened here exactly? I think the game saw that I was having such a good time and forced me to have more open combat style in this situation, so I didn't cheat with stealthy skills. Story was not complicated at all, it was even a little repetitive. Process went as follows. Determine your next Shin Bakafu, find people that can provide you with information about baddies, help those people to solve their own problems before they can give you information, and yeah, solving their problems might include killing a whole new circle of enemies. And only after that I could get information on where the main bad guy of this mission was. And then I raided location where Shin Bakafu was and basically killed them. in an open boss fight or with a stealth kill, which is kinda funny that Ubisoft allows that. In a chain of quests like that, Naoe can meet characters that she can recruit later as allies for a hideout, and in the Fatherless Monk questline I met such character, the warrior monk Yaya, and got the trophy for that. I didn't hesitate to complete Yaya's own personal questline till the end right away, so I can recruit her as first ally and get rewarded with Build Your League trophy. 3 people of the Shinbakafu organization were already dead, and surprisingly, I get a great opportunity to attack Oda Nobunaga himself next, because surely he is the leader of this group, right? Nobunaga's army general Mitsuhide decided to rebel against his master and attack him with the help of Naoe. The plan was for his army to raid Nobunaga's castle as a distraction so Shinobi can kill a powerful daimyo, and that almost happened.
何やつじゃ。
私は以下のものじゃ。
Let me tell you, Naoe did some aura farming before the boss fight, and when she was ready to kill Oda, Yasuke appeared, saving his commander. Hell yeah, finally we see those two on one screen. Wait, Yasuke? Yasuke, what are you doing? I love you, but please don't touch my girl Naoe. The moment he saw Naoe's hidden blade, he couldn't bring himself to kill her. It stirred something in Yasuke, an echo of his past, tied to that assassin's weapon. There's a story there, waiting to be revealed. Naoe immediately confronts Oda again, demanding to know the location of the stolen box. But the truth hits hard. Nobunaga was never the leader of the Shinbakafu. It was Mitsuhide all along, the true mastermind who deceived everyone. Fed up with the situation, Naoe just walks away, leaving Yasuke and Oda to settle things on their own. For Yasuke, it's a deeply emotional moment. His leader didn't want Mitsuhide to claim his head, so Yasuke was the one forced to deliver the final blow to his master. Shortly after, we see the fallout from Naoe's failure. She returns to Tomika, frustrated and ashamed, admitting that she got it all wrong. She is angry at herself, but there is no time for self-pity. Junjiro is missing from the settlement. Oh, and yeah, Junjiro been living with us ever since Sorin left on his pilgrimage. And how could I not allow him to stay? It doesn't take Naoe long to track Junjiro to a castle. Unclear why he's there exactly, but they couldn't even escape safely before enemy forces surround the whole place. And this is when we finally jump back into gameplay as Yasuke. He's on his way to the castle to try to discuss something with Naoe, seeing that hidden blade stirred something in him. So it's in his best interest to slice through the enemies as fast as I slice through a fresh block of cheddar cheese when I buy it. And let me tell you, he makes it look easy, shattering armor in 1 or 2 hits and dropping enemies like flies. I actually started questioning if I accidentally switched to easy difficulty, but nope, it's just the pure power of Black Samurai. When Yasuke finally reaches Naoe, we witness a powerful moment of growth. 2 people from completely different worlds beginning to come together, united by a shared purpose. Yasuke pleads with Naoe to let him join her cause, to become the part of the team. She's understandably hesitant. Why would she trust the man who destroyed her village and took the lives of her family and friends? But Yasuke doesn't dodge it. He promises to be honest with her and offers to finally reveal what really happened in Iga on the day of attack. We were taken into a flashback, back to the day when Nobunaga's army stormed Iga. One of the eldest shinobi in the village is cornered. Nobunaga wants to end him quickly, without honor, but Yasuke clearly isn't comfortable with that. Out of respect, he offers the old man an honorable duel. They fight, Yasuke obviously wins. Shinobi, exhausted and on the edge of death, tries to use one last trick, that trick turned out to be a hidden blade, and Yasuke's reaction? Even more shocked than when he saw Naoe's blade. You can tell that this blade is tied to something deeper, something we don't fully know yet. Before Yasuke can ask all the necessary for him questions, the old shinobi speaks his final words and gave advice to Samurai that he should find girl in Iga with the same blade and help her. That girl, of course, is Naoe, and with that the older shinobi passes and flashback ends. Back in the present, Yasuke apologizes. He is truly remorseful for his actions and asks Naoe for forgiveness. But instead of calming her, the confession only fuels the rage. She is ready to end Yasuke. That's when Junjiro steps in. He stops her and calls her out, pointing out that she is not so different. Turns out, Naoe killed Junjiro's father, who was none other than the Onryo samurai, the one who attacked Naoe in the coffin, and Junjiro known all along. At first he loathed her for it, and even tried to kill Naoe one night when she was injured and resting, but Sorin, bless that kind and wise soul, taught Junjiro compassion, even when he didn't want to hear it. Little by little, Junjiro let go of that hatred. He grew close to Naoe, started seeing her as family, and that's why he came to his father's castle in the first place, to burn the records, to hide the truth, to protect the bond he built with Naoe. He didn't want to lose someone close to him again. Junjiro tells Naoe that he is already forgiven her and that she should do the same for Yasuke. They've all done things they regret, but now it's time to move forward. Naoe has no other options but to agree. She lets Yasuke in, not just onto the team, but into her journey of revenge. Their skills, strength and pasts are now becoming one shared journey, and just like that, a powerful partnership and even friendship is born between the three of them. And as if the moment wasn't satisfying enough, a new League Rises trophy unlocks for completing episode 1 of the main story. From now on, I can switch between Yasuke and Naoe freely through the menu, but to be honest, I ended up playing as Naoe more, because I really enjoy the stealthy approach. Being hidden in the shadows just feels so cool, so I stuck with that. But of course, I played as Yasuke more when it came to unavoidable open boss fights, because he's simply better suited for those. Come on, the guy has a teppo, which is basically a gun. It's literally so overpowered. There was no time to lose, so I jumped straight into hunting the next Shinbakafu. From this point on, I won't go into every Shinbakafu quest line in detail. It's mostly the same routine I mentioned earlier. Instead, I'll just share the highlights and my progress. Take Ise Sadoki for example. To get a shot of just taking him down, someone who could help me with the information asked me to wipe out an entirely different group first. Other group were basically dishonorable samurais who harassed innocent people, because of course the best way for Naoe to earn trust is by killing even more people. I speedrun my way through them, and the moment Naoe landed the final blow on the leader of the group, the trophy Mortal Reminder popped, and it was for completing an objective board. I actually didn't need to kill all of the Shinbakafu. One of them, the Mourner, had a pretty unique story, since it was directly tied to Yasuke's past. It set a very different tone for the whole questline. The mission kicks off with the long flashback, showing Yasuke meeting Lady Oichi, who just so happens to be Oda Nobunaga's sister. Over time, you could see Yasuke getting closer to her, but long story short, Lady Oichi turned out to be the Mourner, but she didn't want any of this. She just got swept up in all the political scheming, and by the time she realized what was happening, it was too late to back out. So naturally, we spare her. Yasuke clearly cares about her too much to let it end in blood. I decided to take a break from the main story and started to going for some other trophies, specifically meeting and recruiting all the possible allies. To recruit them, I had to complete their personal quest lines. There are a total of 6 allies across the game. Out of all of them, I had an amazing time with Katsuhime's quest line.
出すと一体何をなさろうというのです。里いお主ならわかるはず。
Yep, I'm insane. I had a moment of panic during Katsuhime's questline where she was suddenly shot, and immediately I had flashbacks to every show I have ever loved, where the lesbians get shot, and trust me, the list is way too long. So naturally, Naoe rushed in to save her new girlfriend. But in the heat of the moment, instead of jumping on the solid ground like a normal person, she ended up doing the leap of fate of a grappling hook swing, straight into the water. But hey, it popped the acrobatics trophy for doing such trick, so I'm not even mad, especially since Katsuhime was saved and literally carried out of danger by Naoe. Crisis averted. I was still slowly leveling up my knowledge by doing side activities, and I decided to try out a new activity, an exclusive for Yasuke called Kata. It's basically a way for samurai to sharpen their sword skills, and honestly, I thought it was pretty cool, even if I struggled with it quite a bit. What the fuck? But no worries, because after completing the very first kata, I got good form trophy. I was honestly really enjoying the game. Sure, the whole kill the next Shinbakafu loop was getting a bit repetitive, but it was still a lot of fun. Exploring the beautiful world of Japan made it all worth it. I was soaking in every little detail. The way rain splashed on Yasuke's armor, the sunlight filtering through the trees, the beautiful mountain landscapes, and even some absolutely breathtaking bugs. But in all seriousness, I was making some good progress, unlocking more and more abilities on the skill tree and snagging trophies for using those skills in a specific way, like the Master Shinobi trophy for assassinating an enemy through a shoji door. Also, the Sometimes trophy for performing a landing crawl. Damn, that's so high up, Naoe. I'm honestly not sure how you would survive without that role. And speaking of heights, there are 2 more trophies related to it, kinda. The first one was the Happy Place trophy for reaching the highest point on the map. It was on the Mount Hakyo. Getting there with Naoe was easy enough, because, you know, she's shinobi, she's super mobile and has grappling hook that lets her reach any height. Now Yasuke, big boy, heavy jumps, not so great at climbing. Trying to pull off a leap of fate with him, that earned me Leap of Fail trophy. He can barely balance on the synchronization point. I wasn't quite ready to dive back into the serious business of taking down the remaining Shinbakafu, so I decided to knock out some combat-related trophies for Yasuke instead. First up, I went for the Adventurer trophy. Easy and silly. I just realized that Bethesda announced the Elder Scrolls 6 back in 2018, 7 years ago. What the hell is going on over there? Next easy trophy I tackled was the Master Samurai for parrying an incoming projectile. After that, I went for Just Your Shadow trophy, which requires distracting the same enemy 3 times with shinobi bells. Enemies were sometimes just not reaching to the bells, even when I threw them right under their feet. What really got onto my nerves even more was the overdesigned free trophy. It required performing a finisher on an enemy that was both poisoned and dazed. Just reading this description made me feel overwhelmed, but I got myself together and bought katana with a dazed build-up first, and I already had a tanto for poison build-up. The plan was to lure a lonely enemy from a nearby bandit camp, make a save state, and then keep trying until I get the trophy. Timing everything just right was tricky as hell. The idea was to hit him with the katana to fill up the days meter, then switching to the tanto. Sometimes I ended up killing him without the finisher, or just before the poison fully built up, but eventually I did manage to pull it off. Yes! A trophy that's infuriating for many is the final hearing, which requires you to stealth your weapon immediately after an enemy dies from bleed. Honestly though, this one was a breeze for me. Next, I was hunting for high enough spot with enemies around to unlock This is Japan trophy, but I ended up knocking out a few more trophies. First up was Pathfinder for unlocking every province on the map. Then I grabbed Limitless and Better Than a Bucket for finding all types of legendary gear and equipping it in every slot. After so many adventures, it was a great idea to return back to the hideout, to see how things were going, to say hi to new allies that I recruited, and of course take care of some trophies related to the settlement. Made You Look trophy, which is basically a little joke from the developers, and I got this trophy when I tried to look for the treasure behind the waterfall. There was literally nothing there. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough resources to complete the other hideout related trophies, so I found myself raiding castles in the shadows as Naoe. Very shadowy and stealthy approach, yeah, I know. But the reflexes of an assassin helped me and made me press all the right buttons to eliminate enemies, even after being scared as shit by their existence. I might have had not enough resources, but not to worry, the progress for trophies didn't stop. I ended up downing 2 more trophies while I was hunting for the resources along the way. I got the Giant Slayer trophy for assassinating the powerful guardian in one go, and then I grabbed Reading is Fundamental. Not a bad haul if I say so myself. With that, I was able to return to the hideout and had finally enough resources to complete Against the Wood and Stone trophy for upgrading a building in the hideout to a max level. I decided to upgrade the forge, because doing so would help me to unlock my next trophy, Make It Personal, for engraving any weapon for the first time. Only a level 2 forge allows you to do that. It felt pretty satisfying to grab those trophies back to back, but I didn't stop there. I had enough resources for an additional upgrade for a building where all my allies are trained, Dojo, which allowed me to train an ally to max level for the front of the pack trophy. Katsuhime was now not only Naoe's girlfriend, but also a combat veteran. At this point, you might think that I forgot about the main story, and you'd be low-key right. All the side activities were just too fun, which is great and kind of unbelievable for a Ubisoft game, but it was about time I returned and cleared out the remaining Shinbakafu. Things were about to get interesting, since the remaining kills are tied to the personal storylines of Naoe and Yasuke. Let's start with Naoe and her Kakushiba Iki storyline, which is basically the name of assassin group here in Japan. During one of the missions, Naoe speaks with a guy named Hattori Hanzo, who was a good friend of her now deceased father and mother. Or is she? The guy is incredibly suspicious, first trying to talk Naoe out of following the Kakushiba Iki path, like her parents did, but then directing her to some tomb to look for the answers. In the mentioned tomb, Naoe finds clues about her mother Tsuyu's whereabouts. She might not be dead after all. After exploring the tomb, it becomes clear that there isn't just one box that the Shinbakafu stole, there's actually 3 of them. It's still unclear what's inside those boxes. What was clear to me is that I'm absolutely borrowing this assassin suit for myself. Look how hard it goes. Yasuke comes in clutch again. He was worried about Naoe and followed her to the entrance of the tomb to make sure she was okay. And Naoe wanted to talk to him anyway, since she needed help translating a notebook from Latin that she found inside. Texts were indeed about her mother, and they said that a Spaniard named Alvaro Cataribera wanted to expand the brotherhood, and Naoe's mother, Tsuyu, was his student. They were preparing to leave for Iga to find a new allies there. Tsuyu was the one responsible for establishing Kakushiba Iki in Japan from scratch. Alvaro writes in his diary that he left Tsuyu in charge of protecting all three boxes, claiming that the balance of Japan depends on them. It is still unclear what happened to Naoe's mother, but there is more information scattered across 4 assassin outposts that were set up around the country. As I visited each one of them, more of the details were slowly revealed. But Naoe can only return to the storyline after all the Shinbakafu are dead. So let's get back to it. I couldn't get too deep into it, because an interesting twist happened. While hunting for the fox Shinbakafu, Yasuke spots some guy named Samemaru. Turns out he's a pirate and a slaver, someone Yasuke knows personally from a distant past. He's determined to interrogate with the bastard for the info about the other slaver named Duarte, but this absolute scum of a human was just mocking Yasuke, so his life ended pretty quickly, as it should. While Yasuke handled his own business, I managed to take down the fox Shinbakafu aka Takeda Motoaki pretty easily. Yasuke meets with Naoe immediately after. She's worried, noticing that for the first time Yasuke is upset like that. It's obviously because of the earlier confrontation with Samimaru few moments ago. Yasuke then asks Naoe for help finding Duarte, since Samimaru died before any details could have been given. Yasuke isn't giving up though. He's determined to find leads on Duarte de Melo at Wakasa trading port. This quest line falls under Yasuke's past section, so buckle up. Yasuke finds a note from Duarte meant for Samimaru, saying that he must light 3 signal fires to call Duarte's ship to the beach when he is ready. I did it and waited till Duarte's ship appeared in a sight so a very kind boatman can take Yasuke aboard to confront Duarte. Dude, you look stupid as shit. Of course he looks stupid, he turned out to be a Templar. Yasuke starts demanding to know about one more name in Templar circle, Nunokaro. Of course, Duarte is not telling anything and just being a racist piece of shit. So it's time to increase the body count. He just can't shut up, and here's what happens. I'm glad this fucker is dead, jeez. On Duarte's corpse, Yasuke finds his next clue, one that brings him closer to the main enemy of his. To decipher Templar messages, he visits an old friend from the way back, even before the Oda Nobunaga samurai era, Louis Frois, at the residence of Jesuits. They catch up a bit, talking about everything that's happened. I like Louis, he's genuinely happy for Yasuke's new life as a free man. Being the kind soul he is, he doesn't hesitate to help when Yasuke asks him to translate the texts. The letters turn out to be an ode to the Templar Order. Louis also gave some context about the Templars, talking about his time in Rome and how the Order nearly tore the city apart and threw it into the chaos. As Louis reads for Yasuke, he finds another name, Kimura Kei, who is apparently training a secret group of warriors in Kii, and he serves under the main bad guy of Templars here, Nuno Karo. But before Yasuke can get to Nuno, he's gotta deal with Kimura Kei. What Kimura Kei does is recruit warriors of all kinds. Ronins, samurais, bandits, offering guidance to those who don't know where they belong anymore. Basically, he's just manipulating lost people to fight his battles for him. He's just another power-hungry bastard who is willing to go to any length to grow his influence. And he can't even do this on his own, only under Nuno Karo. How pathetic. What's even more pathetic is that he sent his entire cult after Yasuke because he's too much of a coward to face him directly. Hiding behind 3 elite Ronins didn't save him as well. That ugly ass armor won't help either. Bye! And just like with Naoe, game wants me to finish all the remaining Shinbakafu to continue this storyline, because there were also no further clues hinting on Nuno Karo's location. So let's try to return to Shinbakafu and speedrun them. The noble, aka Ukita Naoi, was another easy boss fight. The only slight challenge was him constantly summoning shinobi to back him up, and the dude wouldn't stop farting all over the place, clouding the whole area, so I couldn't see shit. The Ox aka Beso Harumasa was pretty much the same deal. I kept getting absolutely shitted on from the sky by random volley of arrows. I developed strategy to kick the Ox, and while he was wobbling back to Yasuke, I would try to quickly clear out other enemies around. I also took full advantage of his slow walk. Let's just say Yasuke's step had a field day. It's very overpowered. Another one down. The Wise aka Yoken Hokuyo was the last Shinbakafu I needed to take down before going after Mitsuhide. Back to the Wise. This dude is kinda badass. I fought him as Naoe, since by this point I had a few skills unlocked for her that made the boss fight way easier. At this point in the main quest, it was time to go after Mitsuhide. I honestly thought he was gonna be the final boss, but nope, there's still this mysterious figure known as the Horseman left. We had zero info on them, we'll see about it later. Because before those credits for the story rolled, I figured I would clean up all the remaining trophies to get that platinum unlocked as soon as the main plot wrapped up. I was so inspired to finish this platinum. Let's talk about these 2 trophies that basically required me to fully upgrade the shinobi skill set as Naoe and samurai skill set as Yasuke. Sounds easy enough, right? You just slowly play through the game, get skill points as you level up and upgrade everything. I thought so too in the beginning. Further I got into the skill trees, the harder it was to get certain skills. As an example, to unlock Sweep the Leg skill in Shinobi tree, I had a whole new circle of enemies to kill. It was 5 Genzaburo soldiers. This discovery was a little annoying for me. What made it worse was the fact that those side missions enemies were always kinda overleveled, meaning playable characters would die in just one hit. But okay, I dealt with the circle of enemies and unlocked the skill. But little did I know that critical insight skill would be even more frustrating to get. How so? Well, now I had to deal with 6 members who disguised themselves as Japanese legends, yokais. And it all be fun games and stuff, if not one crucial factor. There were few season-sensitive quests. For example, this one could be found during winter only, whatever this is, but these 2 could have been found only during autumn or spring. Also, why Naoe is fighting him with a steel katana when he has a wooden one for training? But honestly, besides that, I had fun with those missions. There were giant playing dead to attack sneakily, kids cosplaying kappas and scaring everyone away from bandits camp as per the agreement, and I mean, look again at those guys. I need to respect the effort here. It was a little bit annoying, but it was a fun detour. I even got to fight a real yokai, and I was confused on where it came from. But I mean, Slay? Where else do I get had to do something like this. I was definitely relieved when I unlocked the Art of Nunjitsu trophy, because at least this grind is over. But what about Yasuke and his samurai skill set? Now I had only 2 other set of enemies to kill, so I suppose Yasuke has something similar? Bro, not only I had to kill all the Shinbakafu to unlock one of the other skills needed, but I also had a whole 4 new group of enemies to kill, all with different side quests. Luckily, one of the skills was locked under Genzaburo's Soldier's quest that I already completed as Naoe, but it didn't help much honestly, because I had 14 more enemies to kill in total and 7 more open boss fights to have as a part of Nobutsuna's Student's Quest, where Yasuke needed to travel all around Japan to learn from the best in each type of weapon available. I mostly didn't have any issues with killing 14 different enemies, all from different organizations, but I definitely had a little trouble with mentioned boss fights, because this Teppo guy was way over my level. This fucking guy. Did he just kill Yasuke, the mighty samurai, with a cloud of dirt? But I managed to backtrack, level up and destroy him, completing Nobutsuna's Student Circle and allowing me to unlock Samurai Stand skill. I needed it for another combat related trophy, Unstoppable, for using Samurai Stand before performing a finisher on an enemy, just in case I activated a Samurai Stand when the last enemy was standing, to guarantee the result. Finally another trophy, I haven't seen them in a while. Damn, that was a lot of fighting, so let's return to something more chill, like finishing all the collectibles, because this was something I could do without any restrictions. I switched to Naoe and decided to lock in for the night and complete all the Kujikiri for Zen Master trophy. By locking in, I meant getting cozy in my bed, by the way, because I had like 70 more of them to do, but it was pretty chill experience overall, most of the time.
What the fuck? I was just chilling.
You can hear it in my voice that I was so ready to sleep, but I couldn't allow myself to do so, not before all the Kujikiris were complete, and a few hours later, this happened. Finally! Refreshed and ready to continue the collectibles grind, I decided to go for a collector trophy. Guide said that I had 4 categories of items I needed to collect for this trophy, but for me the trophy popped right after I delivered all 10 Kano paintings. I had just one more thing to do related to collectibles, and it was a rare occurrence trophy, given for completing all legendary Sumiyo. Sumiyo is a traditional ink painting, which both Naoe and Yasuke can do to capture unique wildlife moments all around the country. In a Japanese world of Assassin's Creed, there are only 5 legendary Sumiyo to find, and because of that I thought that I was in for a quick trophy. Or was I? Remember me complaining a bit about yokai side quests because they were season sensitive? Well, it was nothing in comparison to Sumiyo trophy, because it's a whole new level. Stardew Valley Community Center fishing bundle level. Not only did legendary animals appear during certain seasons, they also depended on the time of the day and even weather. Silver Fox, for example, didn't spawn for me when it was raining, and my luck with it was not great, because as soon as night began, in 90% of the cases it always started raining. I love the look of the rain in this game, but bro, leave me alone for once. As you can see, I was truly losing my mind, because why am I beefing with the rain in game? And the fact that you can't skip time like you can in Skyrim, for example, makes everything much worse. The full day in Assassin's Creed Shadows is an hour over real time, so I had to wait quite a lot for nighttime or daytime to arrive. Devs got inspired to make a trophy as a tribute to Skyrim, but couldn't borrow time skip mechanic? Rude. But well, in the end, all 5 legendary Sumiyo were collected, and I got longly anticipated trophy. Right after, I visited settlement to get another trophy, Chase the Morning, right away, for adding Sumiyo to the hideout. Really nice and easy. I don't know why I didn't pop it before, as just regular Sumiyo was enough for the trophy. After hours of a collectibles grind, I wanted to be back to combat, and gladly there were still some trophies left related to it. There is also this trophy for completing first Kofun. I visited those few times at least already during the story, but I guess it didn't count because I didn't go there at my own will. At least now I did it and unlocked Kofun Raider trophy. Next on my list was Would You Kindly trophy that required me to complete a contract in each province. Trophy popped after me completing just few of them, as I was doing contracts throughout all playthrough anyways, because it was a good source of gold, resources for settlement and even skill points. Upon looking on the trophy list again, Test Your Might trophy was the last one I could complete before I needed to finish with the Shinbakafu questline. This one required me to beat 5 enemies in the tournament. I first approached it as Naoe, and I got my ass handed back to me a few times by the first opponent. I didn't give up easily though, and managed to beat her as Naoe, but then switched to Yasuke right away to continue the tournament. And it was much easier with his Teppo and Nagikatana. Truly an overpowered combo, and my favorite. It seems like enemies also had regenerative abilities of a lizard. Good for you, I guess? Oh, and the last guy used sake as a healing potion, which is fair? I don't know, the only Asian drink I ever tried was soju, and aftermath of this was... So I'm not so confident in healing abilities of sake, and maybe I was right, as it didn't help final guy to stand as a winner against Yasuke. Might was indeed tested. It was time to finish what we started, to bring an end to the most powerful organization in Japan. There were only 2 of them left, Mitsuhide, who betrayed his lord Oda Nobunaga, and some mysterious figure, on who I don't have any information yet. So Mitsuhide it is. Just a quick remark, I should have gotten an old fulfilled trophy right here for completing Act 2 of the story, but I got it later after saving a game and quitting to main menu. Weird, but I'm at least glad the trophy didn't glitch on me in the end. Back to Mitsuhide. The whole army came for him, and understandably he was nervous, as he didn't have enough soldiers on his side, as many allies he had an agreement with didn't arrive to support him and fight by his side. Upon reaching Mitsuhide, he was running away like a coward, of course. Yasuke couldn't let it slide, and chased him all the way back to Mitsuhide escape boat, where he finally decided not to be a coward and meet his fate with a sword in hand. And the coolest boss fight yet begins. I start out as Yasuke using Teppo to deplete his armor. I was so confused on what the hell happened here. Why one shot destroyed more than a half of his armor like that? I got switched to Naoe automatically to carry on with the boss fight. At this point she was over leveled even for Mitsuhide, so fighting him as Naoe was not an issue. It was actually quite enjoyable with all the skills I had unlocked. It took much longer than Yasuke part for sure, but it went past by quickly, because again, it was fun. As always, he still has stuff to say before we can confirm the kill. At first he started complaining that he was forced and manipulated to join Shinbakafu. Get a grip, dude, you all say that. But anyways, Mitsuhide revealed that the last standing Shinbakafu was ex-shogun, Ashikaga Yoshiaki, emphasis on ex, because when Oda Nobunaga became leader of all Japan, Yoshiaki lost all his power. That's why he created the Shinbakafu organization in the first place, to have his revenge and return all the power to himself. Yoshiaki also had the box that Naoe was desperately looking for, and Mitsuhide revealed that inside was something really important, Emperor's regalia. Okay, still not clear why and what's the value of it. I hope to find out soon enough. In the meantime, it was time to cancel Mitsuhide's live subscription. Naoe delivered the final blow. Oh, look at them. Their relationship blossomed a lot since their first meeting. Ashikaga Yoshiaki, here we come. To my surprise, the mission was very short. There were no boss fights or something like that. There was just Yoshiaki manipulating Naoe and Yasuke not to kill him. And he was successful, and they spared him in the end. Well, at least they grabbed the box Naoe has been chasing throughout the entire story. The reason he wasn't killed is because he revealed key information about the whereabouts of an assassin, someone who could very well be Naoe's mother. Earlier in Naoe's storyline, I had only found vague clues hinting at where Tsuyu might be, but now, thanks to Yoshiaki's scouts, Naoe had finally a concrete location to investigate. He also shared intel about Yasuke's rival, Nunokara, so basically both characters got what they needed, and in return, the ex-shogun was spared. This opened the door for both Naoe and Yasuke to finally complete their personal stories. But before digging deeper into both stories, let's enjoy that Blossom trophy for defeating all Shinbakufu and get all other trophies over with so we can pop the platinum right after the epilogue will be finished. Art of Kenjutsu trophy followed next, as finally all skills are available for me to unlock in Samurai skill set. I had some trouble with In Case of Trouble trophy, which required me to fully upgrade tools and ammunition for both Yasuke and Naoe. I thought that I had upgraded everything, but the trophy didn't pop, so I started troubleshooting and digging around the internet for the answer, and eventually I found some random video with barely any views, and then I saw a comment under that video and it saved me. Someone pointed out that one specific ability is hidden in the Tanto skill tree, which for some reason counts as a tool upgrade. Sure enough, I unlocked that skill and the trophy was finally mine. Yippee. Thank you, Captain Krabs77. You saved me hours of grind for skill points, trying to unlock every single option before the trophy popped. One of the last trophies I had to get, Suit Yourself, ended up being a pretty quick one to grab. To unlock it, I had to travel all over Japan and try 16 different foods. Each one I tasted increased the number of healings for both Yasuke and Naoe. There were just a couple more things to do, so healings can be at its full strength. I went back to the settlement and built Tea Room, which increased both the healing effect and max capacity of rations. I also built Zashiki, as it boosted ration efficiency by 20%. All that remained was visiting one last merchant for their food, and just like that, Suit Yourself trophy was mine. It's almost the end, folks. All that was left to do for the platinum was to complete the epilogue, which included finishing both Yasuke's and Naoe's personal stories, and celebrating with all the allies in the settlement for a job well done. Let's start with Yasuke's story. To recap, our samurai has been chasing after the Templar Nunokaro, someone from his past whom he despises. We still don't know exactly why. We're finally about to find out soon. Previously, I couldn't progress this quest further as there were no other hints on where Yasuke's rival could be. But thanks to Ashikaga Yoshiaki, I now know that someone named Silver Queen requested to see me. She's a young woman with a noble background who wants to kill Nunokara as well, according to rumors. I met her, she invites Yasuke for a cup of tea while they are having a pleasant talk discussing a business together. Silver Queen seems hesitant on giving Yasuke information about the Portuguese man because she is scared of what he is capable to do to her, but she seems interested in him dying anyways. Yasuke swears that he could help, but Silver Queen starts to insist that she doesn't need his help. Yasuke starts to get confused, and not because this meeting doesn't make any sense, but because Queen of Silver poisoned Yasuke with the tea, while saying that she has her own orders. Whose orders can it be? Of course he only appears after Yasuke is in no condition to respond. Suddenly he is so brave, explaining how samurai and shinobi ruined his plans by eliminating all the Shinbakafu members. Yasuke of course tries to attack, but unfortunately poison made him too weak to do so. Oh no, it turns out that Silver Queen is Mitsuhide's daughter, the guy who we killed brutally not too long ago. And Nonokaro basically teamed up with daughter, so she can have her own revenge. Silver Queen also convinced Karo that she should be the one who kills Yasuke, and he left without confirming a kill. Big mistake, because Hosokawa Tama, the real name of Silver Queen, decided not to kill Yasuke, despite our samurai being one of the killers of her father. Tama understood that Yasuke was her last hope on saving her and her brother. Karo's bandits hold her brother in the castle as a hostage to ensure cooperation between Silver Queen and him, and to make sure that sales of silver is going smoothly. Yasuke was truly her last hope. She couldn't save her brother from such a dangerous location and make sure Nonokaro is dead before all the silver deposits are empty, and the leader of Templars determines to eliminate both Tama and her brother because they're simply no longer needed in this scheme. Reuniting Tama and her brother was pretty easy task for Yasuke. They were both so excited to leave this place while trusting Yasuke to take care of Nonokaro, who, as she informed, was hiding in Takeda Castle. Time to finish this chapter of the story and kill this wrinkly man. He was so confused on why Yasuke is so determined to kill him. He was surprised as, like, Yasuke knew him personally, and Yasuke does know him personally. With that, a flashback scene starts, back to the time when Yasuke was not a free man. Flashback started with him and his mom on a boat, rattling through some paperwork. Templars didn't care about this paperwork, it seems. They captured Yasuke and his mom and were cruel to them for no apparent reason, and then Karo just kills Yasuke's mom because he assumes that they saw something. This poor lady, what did she even do to you, you weak-ass man? He was ready to shoot Yasuke as well, but all of a sudden the unknown assassin came swinging, unleashing chaos, killing multiple Templars while trying to save Yasuke. Unfortunately, his solo debut didn't last long, but before dying, he made sure to encourage Yasuke to escape. There were no other options for him but to jump in the ocean. And you know what? The story now comes together. That's why Yasuke was found floating by Louis Frois and became bodyguard of the Jesuits. That's why he was so fascinated when he saw a hidden blade in Iga for the first time, because the same blade saved him from death. And finally, that's why Yasuke wants to kill Nonokaro so bad. The fact that he doesn't remember Yasuke tells me that the Portuguese bastard did similar things to a lot of black people. So yeah, let's get to business of killing him. I can't stand looking at his face any longer. This guy really thought he was safe under the protection of his people? Does he even know who Yasuke is? It was like a walk in a park for him. And suddenly Nonokaro started to plead and ask Yasuke to talk like a civilized man. Seems like some shit dripped down through those lace pants. Boss fight was easy and satisfying.
さらばだ、ディオ。我が名は安家だ。
Yeah, you tell him. It was the last time Yasuke was dead named. On that positive note, Yasuke's Templar storyline comes to an end. I enjoyed it a lot. My expanded opinion on everything story related will be in the end of this video. Now let's return to Naoe's assassin storyline. Earlier, the last standing member of Shinbakafu organization, Ashikaga Yoshiaki, provided Naoe with information about Kakushiba Iki, Japanese assassins organization, and our shinobi is so desperate to investigate further because it might link Naoe to her mother Tsuyu. Naoe will now investigate the location of secret assassins' ruins, which are located in Yamato. Upon discovering the ruins, Shinobi found herself unable to open them with her hidden blade, a method that worked at every other assassin's base she had encountered. But not here. The ruins demanded a different, more specialized approach. Frustrated by her inability to gain entry, Naoe sat down to meditate, turning to well-known Kujikiri technique to calm her mind. She focused, hoping to recall any forgotten detail that might help. In the state of calm, a memory surfaced. Night when Oda Nobunaga's army attacked Iga village, just after one of the Shinbakafu had knocked her out and taken the box, and her father saved her, rushing her away on a horseback, while whispering the secrets of Kakushiba Iki for some reason. We already know that one of the boxes Naoe retrieved contains the Emperor's regalia, but to no surprise, the other two boxes also hold pieces of the sacred treasures. Nagato, Naoe's father, explains that these relics were entrusted to the Assassins organization for safekeeping. They are believed to preserve the balance of Japan. It was during that time that Nagato met Tsuyu. She and her master had come to Iga, seeking the aid of the village elder. An agreement was made. Tsuyu would remain in Iga, learning the way of the shinobi under the elder's guidance, while also ensuring the regalia remained protected. Nagato was a shinobi student at the time as well. While training, Tsuyu quickly suppressed skills of the village elder. She was so extraordinary that those around her pledged to follow her assassin's credo no matter the cost. For a time, everything was perfect. Tsuyu and Nagato fell in love, Naoe was born, and the regalias were safely hidden under the assassin's watch. But in their peace, they grew too comfortable, failing to notice the rise of the new enemy. A devastating attack followed. Most of the assassins were slaughtered, and the regalias were stolen. Only a handful survived the bloodbath, including Tsuyu. She managed to recover one of the 3 boxes and entrusted it to Nagato, making him swear to protect it at all costs. Then she set off to retrieve remaining 2 boxes, but she never returned. Nagato, believing Tsuyu had perished, reported the loss to the village elder. Grieving, he hid the box in an ancient Kofun tomb, and with Tsuyu presumed dead, the Assassin's Union essentially came to an end. From then on, Nagato decided himself to protect his remaining treasure, Naoe. But he also still never gave up hope. Every day he played the melody he and Tsuyu loved and shared. Then one day he heard it. Someone was playing it back from somewhere deep in the valley. He ran towards the sound, but no one was there, and yet he knew it was her. It had to be. So he kept playing it day after day. It was his way of letting Tsuyu know that their greatest treasure, their daughter Naoe, was safe. And with that, the flashback came to an end. Naoe remembered and understood 2 things. First one was that there was a chance that her mother was alive, and second one, to get to the ruins she needed to play the same melody Nagato and Tsuyu once shared. Luckily, she knew it by heart. Her father made sure of that, and it worked. Ruins opened. It turned out to be the very place where all 3 boxes with regalias were meant to rest. Naoe had done her part. She kept her promise to her father and returned one of the boxes. Right there, she also found a letter from Tsuyu to Nagato, confirming what Naoe had just realized. Her mother was definitely alive. But this wholesome moment was quickly interrupted. Remember Hattori Hanzo? He suddenly arrived at the ruins as well, carrying another box. box. Naoe was confused and angry. She believed Hanzo was the one who stole all the boxes in the first place. But the truth turned out to be simpler. A lord Hanzo was loyal to had simply given it to him. That lord had stolen the box from some foreign order, believing that Japan's treasures should never have left the country in the first place. Was the foreign order the Templars? But anyway, Hanzo and Naoe stepped outside the ruins to talk. That's when he finally opened up. He admitted that he never really cared about Assassin's organization. He was only there because he was in love with Tsuyu and wanted to impress her. But to his heartbreak, she didn't love him back. Out of spite, he sold the location of the Emperor's regalia to the leader of Shinbakafu. And that's basically how all the boxes were stolen. It was pure revenge, and that's a garbage excuse. To be fair, he did regret it immediately. He tried to warn the others that the danger was coming, but it was too late. Even now, Hanzo is still searching for Tsuyu, as he feels the fault in her disappearance. And that's the one thing that convinces Naoe to forgive him, because in the end, they share the same purpose, finding her. Naoe and Hanzo separated, promising each other that they won't stop looking for Tsuyu, and that's where credits roll?
I'm sorry, what? What? Okay.
Why they rolled here out of all places? I guess because it was the end of Assassin's story and, you know, because the game's name is Assassin's Creed? But it was still confusing, I'm not gonna lie. I hope that my storytelling wasn't too confusing to follow too. It was a lot, I know. And this is actually my first time creating such a big video project. I finished the game on 29th of March. And now as I'm writing this script, it's already 21st of April. If you made it this far into the video, drop a comment and let me know. It honestly means a lot. It's how I know the time and energy I poured into this wasn't for nothing. At this point in the game, there was just one thing left for the Platinum Trophy: talking to everyone in the settlement to celebrate one of many coming victories, shared with allies, friends, and even lovers. It was truly a heartfelt moment. I got to talk with everyone in the settlement. Each person shared their emotions, cracked a few jokes, and thanked Naoe for accepting them into this incredible community. They spoke about how she had changed their lives, and even encouraged her to raise a glass in celebration of a successful adventure. But what really brought me to tears was the dynamic between Naoe, Yasuke, and Junjiro. It felt like a real family. Yasuke was teaching Junjiro the art of kata, and the boy told him he wanted to learn more about the way of the samurai, not for glory, but to protect his family. Tomiko, who was like an aunt to him, Naoe, who had become a bigger sister, and Yasuke, who had taken the role of the father figure. Yasuke couldn't help but smile. You could see how much it meant to him. Naoe and Yasuke also shared a quiet moment, reflecting on how far they had come, how much they had accomplished together, and how proud they are of the bond they'd built. Together, they raised the assassin's flag, one that Junjiro had drawn himself, over the settlement, like a symbol of new legacy that they were creating. And just as they did, they found a letter that was delivered to Naoe. It was from Hanzo. He wrote that he was proud of her, of everything she had built for herself, and wanted her to know that he found a clue, a hint about where her mother might be. And it seems she's very close. Yasuke joined Naoe as they stood together overlooking the city. After a moment of silence, he asked if she would go after Hanzo so they could search for her mother together. But Naoe said no, and that she will look for Tsuyu when she will be ready herself. She needed to be in the right place for that. That sounds like a perfect setup for the DLC, don't you think? That's basically it, the end of the great story. I was expecting a platinum trophy to pop right after this cutscene.
Here we go. What? Why I didn't get...
We'll see about it later, because before those credits for the story rolled, I figured I would clean up all the remaining trophies to get that platinum unlocked as soon as the main plot wrapped up. The epilogue trophy popped, but where was the platinum? That's when I realized I still didn't have the Fall of the Shinbakafu trophy, the one that you get for completing Act 3 of the main story. It should have unlocked after confronting the final member of the organization, but it didn't. I started to panic. Did the game glitch on me? Was I locked out of the platinum right at the very end? I remembered. This exact same thing happened with the Act 2 trophy. It didn't pop until I saved the game and quit to the main menu. Holding my breath, I repeated those actions, praying that the glitch would fix itself, and here's what happened.
Maybe now will pop. I had this happen to me. Please? Yes. And let's go.
And here you have it, folks, the platinum of Assassin's Creed Shadows was officially in my collection. I'm so glad that the release of this game lined up with my sick leave from work. It made it possible for me to play for 12 hours straight daily, and I loved every minute of it. The last time I was this hooked on a game was when I first discovered Stardew Valley. Just like in Stardew, my favorite part of Assassin's Creed Shadows ended up being the relationship between characters. Naoe and Yasuke are so different, but the story brought them together in such a wholesome way, turning them into besties too. One of my favorite moments of them was the morning after few too many bottles of sake. It was hilarious, maybe because it was so relatable. I also liked their sweet moments, like when they were stargazing together. And with that, I want to thank you for joining me on this amazing journey with Naoe and Yasuke. I really enjoyed this game. The gameplay, the story, and of course, hunting for that platinum. There were some frustrating moments, of course, but please don't listen to unemployed people on Twitter. Don't trust any reviews actually. Don't believe me too if that will help. If you really want to experience something for yourself, just do it. Reviews can definitely ruin the experience, and they are usually never aligned with your emotions in the end.